Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, viewers. I'm Matthias Aufiku, news editor of the Namibian Sun newspaper. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Evening Review Show. Before we get into the matters of the night, let's first have a look at tomorrow's headlines. Thank you. Well, tonight we speak matters of the Ovaherero Traditional Authority. We're joined in studio by Mr. Rirua Komeheke. He calls himself a German descendant remnant.
Genocide remnant.
Genocide.
Yes, German genocide remnant.
Why is that?
I am from those who remained after the genocide attempt on Ovaherero. But I'm not here for Ovaherero Traditional Authority, as you said. I'm here for Ovaherero Traditional Politics. Yes.
What does this politics entail?
The traditional politics, the chieftaincy, the Herero red flag, the youth in the Herero community, Ovaherero nation, and so on. So, if you say Ovaherero Traditional Authority, then I'm caged to one of the segments of the Ovaherero.
So you want it to be as broad as possible?
As broad as Ovaherero is concerned.
Yeah.
Because it stretches that far.
It stretches that far?
Yes.
Well, let's start with last weekend on Onderombapa. I hear there were 2 days of frenzy activities. Today we read in the papers there seems to be a division about the decision that was taken at Onderombapa regarding the nomination of Mr. Mutjinde Katjiua as the paramount chief-designate. Can you take us through this whole process?
I was in Onderombapa from Friday to Sunday. I told the people that I'm going to make sure that the Ovaherero leadership is, I don't want to use the word well taken care of, but they should feel that we are there. That's one. The other one is I took sound system because I do supply that. And what happened in Onderombapa was a Chiefs Council meeting. It lasted for 2 days. Friday was arrival, Saturday was a meeting throughout 8 o'clock in the evening, and Sunday, I think it ran up to close to 2 or 1, then it ended. What came of it was is the jovial mood everyone else was in at that meeting. That must be stated because people were very, very happy. People were very excited by first, the report that was submitted by the Transitional Committee. Secondly, by the way it was presented. And thirdly, by the attendance. The attendance was overwhelming. And all these people who were there came from a piece of a Herero nation. You know, for example, people from Oruhakana, all the way from Oruhakana, they were there. People from Orwe, they were there. People from Epukiro, they were there. Every across, you know, the breadth and the width of this country, they were there. There were about 126 representatives of the Ovaherero villages, if I may borrow the word. All of them, they were there. So 126 from representing a team that is supposed to have a Chiefs Council that is supposed to have over 150 people, closer to 170. To the attendees, the people who were there, it made them happy because they were, it was an overwhelming majority, if you like. So that brought to daylight the activities that followed, either to choose a designated leader or a caretaker in the name of acting paramount chief, or both. But overwhelmingly, the people who were there agreed that it's best if they had gone for both. The caretaker as well as the designated paramount chief. And I was not part of the meeting, but when I was there, they broke for lunch the Saturday. When they came out of that meeting for lunch, everybody was smilingly happy And Sunday morning, there was no any other name that was mentioned by those who were attending the Chiefs Council meeting. So what we got out, what came out of that was exactly what they wanted. Yeah. But now when I say what they wanted, I mean those who send representative to the Chiefs Council meeting. That's what they wanted. Yeah. And that's what they got. And that's what we have in public domain as I speak.
Well, you speak as if everything went according to plan in terms of everything being done above board and so on. But where are these opposing voices coming from? We read in the media this morning in the newspapers about court cases being planned and so on to challenge the chief-designate's position and so on. Where are these things coming from if, according to you, everything was done accordingly?
Oh, yes. Let's go to the pre-meeting, the events leading to the Chiefs Council. There were threats of, yes, going to court. We will go to court if you people are not going to accede to my request. Listen, to my request not to stop that meeting. You know, when somebody says...
Who did this come from?
Voila. That question needs to be answered. I'm not going to answer that question. Because
you are the one who brought it up.
Because the readers and the listeners, the listenership, your listenership, they have it right in their palm that who is this person. Somebody went to a lawyer, asked his lawyer to write letters to Ovaherero Traditional Authority, asking them to cancel that meeting. But now if you are a member of the Ovaherero Traditional Authority and writing a letter to Ovaherero Traditional Authority about a meeting that is supposed to take, and that took place with so many, with overwhelming support, then definitely something is untoward. We need to dissect that and get to the bottom of what it is that has pursued the person that, look, there's a problem, write a letter, send it to the fellow chiefs of the Ovaherero Traditional Authority. That speaks volume. So then the voices that are against, you know, the outcome of Onderombapa. Definitely, number one, these are social media practitioners. They stay on social media, they speak from social media. I'm telling people, I'm answering people not as a spokesperson of the Ovaherero Traditional Authority, but as a proponent of fairness, of a proponent of democratic processes, because that was a democratic process. People got together, they understood, they decided they are going to have that outcome. So these voices, I'm telling them, look, guys, if you come from Ovitoto, your chief is Ombarakapuo. You go to Ombarakapuo or you go to Orata Hukura, who's the traditional councillor in Orua, you tell him what you want done at the Chiefs Council, so that through Ombarakapuo, he bespeak the rest of the Chiefs Council about what cannot be done or what should be done. Because we can't speak on social media and expect Ombarashi Kuria from Orohakana to understand that there's something on social media. I mean, come on, Ombarashi Kuria is over 70 years old and definitely he's coming. So he's BBC, he's born before computers. Therefore, he can't participate in social media discussions. But his members, the member of his nation that he's leading, of course, they will understand and they will hear that something, there's an outcry. But these outcries that are informal, these outcries that are on social media, these outcries that are on WhatsApp groups and so on, they are not going to help you as a member of Ovaherero Nation when you want to bring across an issue that is disturbing your peace. You can't do that. You go to a traditional councillor takes it up with a senior chief councillor, a chief, and then the chief takes it as a package to the Chiefs Council. That is why we have a Chiefs Council. Mind you, the traditional politics of Ovaherero has one platform that is very, very popular. It's the Chiefs Council. That's why everybody wants to have control of that so that they speak from that strength. So if anybody else had an issue to iron out, it was supposed to be at that highest decision-making body, the Chiefs Council. After that, it's going to be the Senate, the Ovaherero Senate. If you are not in those institutions, you are going to talk like me everywhere and about everything. Yes, and that's not going to help us.
You made it clear that you were not part of the meeting, but you were there.
Yes.
As perhaps as an interested party and as a service provider also, like you said.
Yes.
So, OTA, Chief Kapuo, was he part of this meeting?
No, he wasn't. He was on radio declaring that he's not going to go.
Well, just before we move to that, what is his role traditionally in this type of setups when there are meetings like this? What would his role be?
Ombarakapuo is from Ovitoto. The nation, the Herero Nation in Ovitoto have have him as Ombara. Therefore, he qualifies to be a member of the Chiefs Council. And as a member of the Chiefs Council, he was given an opportunity to serve as a chairperson of the Chiefs Council. Now,
so we agree that he's the chairperson of the Chiefs Council?
Definitely, wholeheartedly. Even that meeting in Onderombapa, they didn't touch on his chair.
So he still has a chairmanship?
He's the chairperson of the of the Chiefs Council within Ovaherero Traditional Authority setup. Nothing was done and said about his role, because it would have been a decision taken about him in absentia, or a discussion about him in his absence, and that is not going to help. That is not going to be democratic, and it's not going to be fair. Remember, I said I'm a proponent of fairness. So it was not going to be fair had they had a chance to speak about him in his absence. He's the chairperson of the Chiefs Council, and whenever the Chiefs Council sits, the executive advises the paramount chief. In this case, somebody who was supposed to be acting was supposed to be told about this meeting. There's a need for a meeting of Chiefs Council so that we iron out few things. One of the most important things that stood out in this meeting is the Transitional Committee's report. That report had to see the light of day. That report had to see the end of or the sustenance of the Transitional Committee. That report was read, it was submitted, it was wholeheartedly accepted, and that was the end of the Transitional Committee. The Transitional Committee dissolved, and it was not dissolved because somebody wanted to force it.
Yeah, just for the benefit of the viewers, who was in charge of this Transitional Committee? Who headed this committee?
There were 7 people.
Who was the head?
The chairperson of the Transitional Committee was Professor Mutjinde Katjiua. The rest were 3 chiefs and 4 former members of the cabinet of paramount chief.
Yeah. So I think let me just allow you to continue with your thoughts before I interjected regarding the role of Chief Kabis. You were still on that.
Yes. No. Therefore, as a chairperson of the Chiefs Council, he gets request from, usually it's from the paramount chief, who sees the need of the execution, so that with the permission of the Chiefs Council, they execute, because the paramount chief has a cabinet and has every day's activities to be done. Therefore, he needs. He speaks to the Chiefs Council for permission to be able to execute this or that. But for a meeting to take place, Ombara Poo is to be informed. Chief Kabis by the executive. In this case, the paramount chief.
Who's the paramount chief in this case?
The paramount chief was late Rukoro. As we speak.
Who was acting before the meetings?
The Transitional Committee was acting. That is why we, as a nation, we invited the voices of the representative of the people, being the chiefs, to request for establishment of a Transitional Committee, and that happened successfully. Yes. So this is how it works. You ask the chairperson, he announces that there will be a meeting on whatever date and so on, and the logistics and everything else is done by the secretariat. They run around which venue, who's to be invited, etc., etc., etc. So once that's done, then everything else is in place.
So I'm happy you gave us a chronology of how things happen. But earlier you mentioned that Chief Kabis made it clear that he's not going to attend the meeting. So how does he not attend the meeting that he called?
Yeah, good question. You remember I said I'm into Ovaherero traditional politics. The reason why he wouldn't attend a meeting that he called, in fact, it's answered by the question, by the submission he made to the radio, that he's not going to attend. And definitely every other journalist, where the salt he or she is made of, would have helped us to unearth that. Because now I will appear as if I'm representing Ombara Poo, which is not true. I'm not representing him. He was able to tell everyone else, especially Radio Ovaherero with the morning program. He was at liberty to tell the Herero Nation that he's not going to attend because of ABCDs. Yes.
Okay. Before we continue with this, let's just go for a short ad break and we'll come back and continue this conversation.
As it pleases you.
Thank you.
And what do you think about this one, baby?
You go now.
You're the best.
Can I go now? sweetie, you're just getting started.
1 second, babe, I'm on the phone. Yeah.
What do you think about this one, babe? Babe?
What were you saying?
Well, we're back to continue this very exciting and interesting conversation. Mr. Komeheke.
Yes.
The Red Flag Association. We read this morning its patron, Mr. Ben Zaruka, saying that the Onderombapa meeting was null, void, and illegal. What is your reaction?
You want my reaction on that one?
Yes.
My reaction is that one. I laughed.
Why is that?
I'm laughing because, look, for far too long, some of the Ovaherero leaders have failed to appreciate the democratic relationship between the led and the leaders. To an extent that the led at one point or at some point felt oppressed to an extent that they should free themselves from the disfranchisement as far as information is concerned. So the led opted to find out things. They opted to read so that when they speak to the leaders, they speak knowledgeably. So for somebody to stand up and say a meeting in Onderombapa is null and void, while he came from a meeting that he, number one, he wasn't supposed to be there. Number two, it was an illegal congress. Number three, he became the executive of an institution that he's supposed to patron. Then already we have a problem there. Either with an individual that he doesn't understand what it means to be a patron, or he doesn't understand what that institution is. That institution is a public company. Herero Red Flag Association, it's a public company by Act 228 of 2004, Companies Act. It's registered under that Act, Section 21. And Section 187, I think subsection 7 or so, and Section 190. They're very clear. They're speaking of an annual general meeting as a mandatory requirement from that Act. You must have an annual general meeting, not a congress. A congress is one of those other outings where you sit and talk about unending issues. But an AGM, it's a prerequisite of existence. Since 2010, Herero Red Flag Association had not had any AGM whatsoever, but it's mandatory. They never had any annual reports sent to BIPA. So for a patron to speak about Onderombapa's meeting, where as if the Herero Red Flag Association that he's patroning is holier than thou, then we have a problem. Yeah.
So, but you just said that he shouldn't act as an executive because he's just a patron. So where does the annual reports and agents, what does he have to do with it?
He has nothing to do with that. Absolutely nothing to do with that. But if you want your name to be associated with something that you think is worth your name, definitely you must be up to scratch. You should be able to know whether the institution that is going to be patroned by you is not of some drunkards or some, dacha smokers and so on. No, you must be able to say, look, it's good. It's worthy my name. You can't be a patron of an institution that hadn't had any AGM, and you are accusing others of being illegal if they had their Chiefs Council meeting, but you had not at one point asked a report or financial report from your team, which are guys, where is our financial report? How do we stand? How much money do we get from the members? How much money do we pay for this? How much money do we invest in what and what have you? Just so that you are aware as a patron, because your name, I mean you as a person, you are a billboard for that institution, in this case, Herero Red Flag Association. Yeah. You are a billboard. People look at you and they see Herero Red Flag Association and say, oh yeah, no, they're associated with a well-established business person, therefore they must be well-established. They must have met all the requirements by law. So my stomach was asking me questions.
So are you saying he should not ask these questions because his house is not in order at the association? Or what are you saying?
I would say that. I would say that if I meet him. I would say that. Why are you worried about the Chiefs Council and you're not worried about the Herero Red Flag Association? You are supposed to be worried about them. Have they submitted reports? No. He was not clear on those things. He was not bothered about it. Yeah. But he was bothered about, going to a Herero Red Flag Association, some type of congress in Kakarara, where they had 22 people. I have the names on my phone. I can show you. Where they had about 22 to 30 people instead of 170 people who were supposed to be there as members of the leadership of Oshitarandu from every commando. Yeah. There were 22 people. But you are worried about 126 people who decided for the betterment of the Herero nation at the highest decision-making body, at which his members, the leadership, refused to go also. Yeah. Did they go? They didn't go because they know that that's not what they want to hear. Yeah. And he's on the front page saying, no, they were supposed to be 270 members of the Chiefs Council. No, Oshitarandu is supposed to send 2 people only. Yeah. From each commando, and that means 17 commandos gives you about 34, if my mathematics still help me. It's about 34, and 34 plus 126, it comes up to 150, 160. Yeah. You see, and minus the other 2 chiefs who didn't come. The other 2 chiefs decided they're not going to be part of Herero Nation at the level of OTA. Yeah. So, colleagues, when we are doing these things, we must have all the facts. You can fight somebody, think this person is bad, but please have all the facts so that you use them against him or her. Yeah.
Okay. There are also talks, let's get back to the PC designate. There are also talks that it seems that seeing that he served as the SG, now is in this role as the SG in charge of the transitional committee. You are part of the process that's planning this very important event that's coming, and you happen to emerge. Is there some sort of player-referee syndrome that took place there?
Let me help you. The meeting that took place in Onderombapa last weekend, it was supposed to take place in Okodongwehe or Kaoko, but it did not take place. It was supposed to take place in Oshuarongo, and it did not take place. If I looked at the agenda, which I peeped from people who speak to me, the agenda had nothing as far as the selection or the appointment or the anointment of the next PC is concerned. There was nothing like that.
So it just happened?
I think, listening from those who were inside, the absence of the acting paramount chief and the possibility of getting so many people together played a role, led to that decision, I suppose.
Mr. Komeheke, are you trying to tell us that a decision of that magnitude, when all those individuals went to Onderombapa, they didn't know that by Sunday we would have a PC designate?
That was very important on the list of activities to do, was to look at who and what are the requirements for a PC. That was very, very important. It was the carrot in front of everyone else. Everyone who came there, because remember, it has been a while now since we haven't had the Herero Nation hadn't had a paramount chief. So the fact that everybody wanted to see the requirements to be met by the next PC, which was part and parcel of the discussion of either the meeting in Okaoko or the meeting in Oshuarongo, which was done by the meeting in Omongwa, Onderombapa, that was the center of attraction. And the fact that there hadn't been any successful Chiefs Council meeting since PC passed on. It was, and mind you, it's the end of the year, so there will be no any other Chiefs Council to take place. So those factors drew the attention of those who attended the meeting. And any other business, maybe that's when they discuss the most important issue, which is either the caretaker or the next PC or both. Yes.
So for the benefit of our viewers, under normal circumstances, during whether it's the appointment, nomination, or election process of a PC, what is the standard procedure if there are other, perhaps say, candidates who wants to throw their name in the hat? If I wanted to be PC and now all of a sudden there's a sudden decision to decide, okay, we are going to appoint Mr. Katjiua as the
Can I disappoint you?
designate.
Can I disappoint you? Let me take you back to the answer that I gave you, that if you want something done by the Ovaherero Chiefs Council, you go to the councillors in your area. You bespeak them so that they speak to the chief, so that the chief takes your wishes and aspirations as to what you want.
But you just said that was not part of the agenda.
No, it could be an agenda of any other meeting. I'm telling you that it wasn't, but it became part and parcel of the discussion because of the outcome of all the other discussions, all the issues discussed. So if you're telling me that, say for example, I would want to be the next PC, there's nothing like that with I want to be the next PC. The people want you to lead them. If the people want somebody to lead them, even at the committee, water committee, at the water point committee, there's a discussion about it until we get somebody who's going to help us in this committee. So it's the same with Ovaherero Traditional Authority. If somebody would like to be the PC, you start there. You speak to the people so that they speak to your people. Because when Ovaherero gather in a fashion like Onderombapa, they are bringing what their led would like to have. That's why representation is of cardinal importance. Representation is very, very important. That's why the relationship between the led and the leaders, it must be well fed. It must be managed very well so that you freely speak to each other about these important issues that are discussed, not anywhere else, but at the Chiefs Council. So if there's anybody out there who wanted to be a paramount chief of the Ovaherero, you would have done that. So for somebody to come to social media and say, no, we wanted what, or we want unity so that in unity we can speak to each other. The unity is there. That's why you have 126 people gathered in one place to discuss important issues of Ovaherero nation at one go. Yes.
I like the fact that you speak so cohesively about how the led and those leading should be in touch. The reason why I'm saying this is because early on in the show you mentioned and you praised yourself saying you are a pro-democrat.
Yes.
Yeah? Is that so?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The voices of the Lord.
Okay. So now, you are a pro-democrat. Here you are supporting a process which some are calling, it seems it was a haphazard process because it wasn't even part of the agenda. It featured nowhere. It just popped up according to you under AOB.
You would want to correct yourself on that one, because what I said is, one thing might have led to the other. Mind you, we were supposed, the Herero Nation from the OT was supposed to have a presser today. So wait for it so that you get that answer. But what I'm saying, the reason why I'm a supporter of fairness as well as a supporter of democracy is because I want a lot of people to get their way. That is why groupings are very important. That is why it's important for us to manage relationships, even friendly relationships, even village relationships, so that when we need each other for a voice to be loud as clear, as Panasonic, as Panasonic, we would have each other already, so that we don't look for each other when we don't have each other, when we have not managed relationships very well. That's what I'm saying. So I came from that background. So remember, I said the agenda of Okolongwehe and Oshuarongo was the agenda in Onderombapa,
which didn't feature a nomination of PC. Is that correct?
Yes. Okay.
So as a pro-democrat, would you say this was a fully democratic process?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Because the representation, the representative of the Herero Nation, the bigger piece of the piece of the Herero Nation was represented in Onderombapa. Very, very big, overwhelmingly, if you want. Yes.
So if you and I drive in one vehicle to Oshuarongo and we come to Okanja.
The word is Oshuarongo.
Yes. So if you and I drive to Oshuarongo in one vehicle and we come to Okanja, and all of a sudden, when we get to Okanja, you decided, no, in fact, instead of driving straight to Oshuarongo, let's go to Karibeb and take the Omaruru route and come back to Chiwarongo. Is that democracy?
That's hypothetical.
It featured nowhere when we planned our trip, and all of a sudden we are here.
I mean, come on, we are two friends here. I'm talking about a nation being represented.
Look at it in the bigger scheme of picture. Maybe I should break it down, because it seems the way you are explaining it now is in a different manner.
You're taking me to two individuals talking about something of their own. I'm saying, I'm talking about 126 people who have power to decide for those who send them. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you and I driving a Skorokoro from...
We're probably not getting each other. That's why I'm trying to simplify it.
Yes.
Yes, because now you come to an event.
Go ahead.
You come to an event, and you've admitted yourself that it was never planned or under any agenda to have a PC nominated or appointed.
Let me help you. If the discussion is about who to be a chief or what are the requirements for one to be the next PC, why wouldn't that be one thing leading to another? That's what I submitted. One thing led to another. And I told you that this was a very, very exciting meeting. People were very, very happy. So tell me, why is it not easy to go from requirements to see if somebody meets the requirements? That's what permeated that meeting.
So for you, it's fine that a decision of that magnitude that
I don't know why you. I don't know why you.
No, I'm just trying to understand.
I don't know why you make me to think it. What, you know, you are. It's bigger than what?
Sir, nominating a leader for such a big community, you think it's a small feat?
I mean, come on. You have people who are 49% of the population here. So what are you saying? So what are you saying? Why are you saying that is bigger?
No. The reason why I'm asking is because the fact that it just pops up. Doesn't it even raise eyebrows to you?
It does not do that because I'm saying Rirua alone would not have stopped that meeting one way or the other. Because I was alone. A meeting of 126 minds. It can take decisions for those who are represented. That's what I'm submitting. These are representatives, not soccer players. Yes. These are representatives. It's in their power to decide whether the meeting can go on or whether the meeting can stop or whether the meeting can discuss A, B, C, D. You follow? Yes.
Okay, let's move on from
so let's give it to them. Let's give it to them.
Okay, let's move on from the issue of the court threats and so on. What do you make of it?
Oh my gosh, I almost said that name. When we were doing a burial of one of the prominent figures of the Republic, court case was an issue. When we had when there was an issue about the Herero Red Flag Association, court case was an issue. When we had differences in Okahanja about this or that, court case were an issue. So I would gladly say, maybe that's our constituency. Bring it on. Because unfortunately, democracy has it such that we should go to court if we have differences. Yes, if you think you are more powerful than I am, and what you are doing is trampling upon my rights, I will look for a third person to have a second view, a third view about our situation. So bring on the court. Let's see whether a bad case would make a good lawyer good, or a bad case will be changed by good money. Bring it on. We've been in courts for God knows how many years now as a nation. Yes, let's meet in court and let's resolve this, because some people are saying, why would we want to resolve our issues in court? But why not? Because if somebody behaves as the most powerful person amongst his peers, and you want to make sure that everybody sucks up to what you submit, then definitely we have only one route left. You are behaving like you are the most so powerful person. We can't deal with powerful people. We can deal with powerful systems. So if the system is not powerful to be able to avoid to deter you from stop being powerful, we go to God. Let's go to God.
Okay. Moving on just towards the last segment of the show. What is the way forward for all of this, especially in terms of forging unity and trying to reach common grounds between the two parties? What would you say?
You are talking to me as if I agreed with you that there's disunity. There's no disunity.
No. Clearly there's
I did not agree on disunity. I did not agree on that.
I'm asking you based on the reports that have come out.
Make it clear to your listenership that I did not agree that there's a disunity. But the way forward.
What is the way forward? I'm asking you, not based on what you said.
Yes, because
not based on what you said.
But the way forward, if you asked me, the way forward without me addressing unity or disunity, the way forward is anybody whose who's maybe disturbed by Onderombapa still has a chance. You have your leadership. There's a Senate coming. Now this is the right time. Speak to them. Even speak to the designated paramount chief. Speak to the acting Ombara Shingaete. Speak to these people. Find out if they are going to carry your case to the Senate.
Yeah.
Because you still have a chance. Milk is not spilled. So as Democrats as we are, let's go to the Senate and do what men and women do when the voices are not heard. Yeah. It's as simple as that. That's a way forward. For now, as far as I'm concerned, as a proponent of fairness and democracy, I'm saying, Onderombapa, we have it. We still have a chance at the Senate. The way forward, let's deal with the Senate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Komeheke, thank you very much.
Anytime.
And all the best for everyone involved in this whole matter going forward.
Please, I mean, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you calling me to want to speak to me about this. Yeah. But as honesty as it can be, I'm saying, let's use processes, let's use procedures. Though every institution has got what leads them. Let's do that. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time, young man.
Thank you, sir.